Well, let's go over to Carmel. Hey, Carmel, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks, Kate. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time today to come and have a chat. So, Carmel,
Thanks for
before we
having me.
kick off, can you just tell us a little bit about your business and what you do?
Sure. Well, as you just mentioned, I'm a director of the Proven Group, and our business specialises in HR, recruitment, careers, and very importantly, resumes. Together with all of the services that we do provide, this actually allows us to teach our clients to be the best they can be with customer service excellence, especially on the front line. We do this as got clients Australia-wide. So, of course, at the moment it's very big on Zoom and on COVID-19. I work face-to-face with my clients as well.
Fantastic. Now, I know that you absolutely passionately think that customer service is a value across a business, not just for the front line, and I love you for that. But let's talk before we go into the workplace. I want to have a bit of a talk about this whole concept of having to write a resume to get yourself a job. So what's it? I mean, I haven't written a job application for a while now. So what's going on in the world of job applications, particularly for those that are going for frontline positions that involve an element of customer service?
Yeah, for sure, Kate. Probably the biggest thing that people need to be aware of now is that resumes are no longer read by people. They're electronically shortlisted and the computer is programmed to search and look for the keywords. It's like when I work with my clients, I will actually say to them that I will write about them, but I won't be writing for them. Purely because my job is to get my client to the interview, and the way that I do that is to write about them from a HR perspective, but also too because the person that's going to read it is going to read from a HR perspective. So I need to target all the key words and ensure that I get you past the computer. And then when I land you in the hands of a HR professional, ticking all the boxes, especially feeling what I've written. That is so important to feel what I write, not read what I write, because the only question I want the person to ask my client is, when can you come in for an interview?
Well, I tell you what, that's a great way for people to think about that. So you want someone who's reading it to feel the person who's written
Yeah.
it. Okay. So let's say we have key selection criteria. Is that still part of the process nowadays for someone going, perhaps let's just say they're going for the supermarket job? And I know there's a lot of vacancies at the moment in supermarkets. They're trying to mass hire a lot of staff, not just for shelf fill, but for frontline as well. So is there key selection criteria that has to be answered, or is it just a case of shoot your resume through and hope for the best?
You should always try and stand out on your resume, regardless, especially in these times, because there's so many people applying for jobs and so many high, they might not have the exact skills of stacking shelves, however, they'll have a lot of transferable skills. Key selection criteria, not as such, needs to be addressed. That's more for a government role. However, they will have a list of key responsibilities. Once again, about you for the role. For example, I've seen a lot of flight attendants apply for busy supermarkets. Bring out your customer service skills and talk about yourself for the role.
Yeah, look, and I know how important it is that you don't just do the old one resume fits all. That used to be the case, you know, like I'd just do my resume and I'd send it off to that many people. Is the covering letter still something that people should really be attaching, even, and perhaps is it a case that it's not asked for anymore, or do you still think the cover letter is a way to get that feeling across?
Definitely have a cover letter. In my opinion, the cover letter is what I describe as the nailer. That is where, even in the introduction of a cover letter, I will write about my client and why they're interested in the role. Get their attention straight away. And with that as well is where you'll also put in the keywords, another document to get you through the ATS, which is an applicant tracking system, which is the computer. And also to cover letter is where your personality traits. So be friendly, teamwork, autonomous, all that type of thing. Any of your traits go in a cover letter.
I love that also earlier you mentioned about transferable skills. This was something that I didn't know about early in my career. I just kind of went into banking quite early at the age of 17, came out at 32 once I was retrenched and thought, gee, I'm going to have to work in a bank all the time. And this term of transferable skills was new. Can you explain to me in the sense of for frontline staff, what are transferable skills? What is it that the employers are looking for under that category?
It's always definitely the customer service, and it's also two different skills and experience that you can bring across. Like I work with a lot of clients that are actually looking for a career change, and what we look for in that is their strengths, their skills, and also their experience. And I know I keep coming back to it, but it's so important about you for the role. I've even had truck drivers want to apply for jobs in aged care. Now you can't get pretty, that's pretty diverse. However, if you bring out, as I keep coming back to the customer service skills, that's where you really bring out the key words of them, showing compassion and empathy and holistic respect. Relate about you for the role.
Oh, I love that. So, of course, I'm all over this transferable skills now because I went from banking into disability employment. So that's why it made sense to me. It's like, I've got this stuff that can go into any industry. So let's talk about all the different industries that at the moment might be having frontline staff that are thinking, you know what, I think I want to go to a different job now. Like maybe through this crazy time, they've got a bit of think music and they're like, maybe I am a truck driver that wants to work in aged care. So what are the steps for them? Like, how do you find these jobs now? Do they contact someone like yourself? Is it through seek.com? How is the world of finding that new job happening, particularly for those with some really great frontline customer service skills?
Applicants are definitely, they'll always continue to look on Seek. Jora, Jora.com. Jora.com is another really popular site. But more importantly now, that probably people never thought to do before, was to actually go directly to the website. So for example, go to Coles, go to Woolworths, and go to all of those areas that are needing positions, but also too, don't forget the suppliers. Who's delivering the toilet paper to the company? Who's paying the toilet paper at the warehouse? So it's more so going direct to the sites as well. And another big difference is that going into supermarkets, for example, they will have a look at your resume in the store, whereas pre-COVID-19, you could only ever apply online. They would never take your resume in the hand again. So that's another difference.
Wow. So it sounds like there's the avenues are kind of, as much as we might think they're closing, they've actually opened up a little bit too. So let's say, so let's just say we've got ourselves a foot in the door and now we're going to go to an interview. So we've had the resume done, we've had the cover letter done with the support, not done by someone. I know that you particularly won't be just rabbiting out some resumes. You make sure you speak to the people and make it theirs. So what can they expect? What sort of questions are employers asking now at the interview that is going to help that candidate be prepared and get to the next bit, which is get the job?
Yeah, definitely. And just to touch on briefly there, Kate, when you do say that when I do write, I will always write about my client for the role. Therefore, I need to actually work with them to obtain information. And then from that information, when we do provide what's called formal interview coaching, and apart from we go through, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression and the body language, all of that sort of thing and how they do present. But really importantly is to ask those skills, normally I would ask, why did you apply for this position? However, in these times, I think that's quite obvious. So my very first question would be, what skills and experience do you bring to this role? Just tell me about a time where you've worked in a team to achieve a common goal. That's a really important one because I want to learn more about what their role was to achieve that goal. And of course, describe a time when you had to deal with a difficult customer. How did you handle it? Been through that.
And look, everybody sort of from all the talk that you see and hear, the interview, they're going to ask me how I did this and how I did that. And the one thing that I hear back a lot, and I'd love to know how you sort of coach your clients to get through this is, but what if I'm nervous and I can't speak clearly, or I'm not sure how to say what it is, or what if I fumble? Like just speaking from a candidate's point of view who's going for a frontline job and they're worried they're just going to turn up a mess. How do they get over that?
The very first thing I say to them is to we all tend to hold our breath when we're nervous. And speaking with them as well, I find that, and it's even with yourself, when you're really nervous about something, it's because it's the unknown. When you don't know that either the questions or what's going to happen, you're nervous. So through the interview coaching, by coaching them on how to answer the questions, they're already a step ahead, and they can actually, as I keep saying, think about themselves, right, answer the questions accordingly. Just don't rabbit on about, whatever comes to mind. And I also remind them that we're all human. They will allow for nerves and blank spots. And I'll also encourage them to say, if you get stuck, say to the person interviewing you, do you mind if I take a moment to think about that? And that'll leave all the awkwardness there is in the room.
Love it. It's permission to be human. That's what I think is really important. And look, obviously if you're only 18, 19 and this is your first time out, of course you're going to be nervous. I mean, this is I'm very new to this whole world of ticker TV as well, and I didn't sleep last night. So it is a little bit about recognising that level of anxiety, I think actually means you want to do a good job. So if you reframe it a little bit, and look, what's the worst thing that can happen, really?
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Excellent. So, Carmel, before we finish up today, I know you have a great story to tell about great customer service that you experienced. Actually, before we do that, tell me, why do you love doing this thing that you do? Like, why do you love helping people transition from jobs or get jobs? I'm really interested to know.
Why I love it so much is probably my skill that I have, and my skill is to be, I do have a gift to write. And it's really, really difficult because people can always tell me what they've done or what they want to do. But I don't know about yourself, Kate, I think we mentioned before that if you've got to write your own resume, you've got to write about yourself. So you think, I can't say that, whereas if I'm actually writing for them, I can use my skill and the gift that I was born with to be able to write, to get them through the computers into the HR hands, and therefore get them to interview. And it's being a part of a journey that without this piece of paper, which is a resume, no one would have ever known that they existed. Yeah. So that's what I love about what I do.
So you kind of get a buzz out of it, don't you?
I do, very much so. And even when they leave, they only have one rule, and that is to keep me up to date with their progress on whatever they're doing.
It's the best feeling, isn't it, when you help someone take the next step? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So just to finish off, tell me about your experience. So I want you to talk from your personal level. When you're a customer out there in the world, I know you have great experience. So what was your experience, and like, what is it for Carmel that you think is excellent service? Tell us about it.
Excellent service to me is when you walk into a store or a shop, and especially if you're a regular customer, and they definitely greet you by name. It makes you feel special. Also too, when they engage in further conversation, today, what are you up to for the rest of the day? And like, for example, I visit a local butcher, and every week I'll walk in, they'll say, hello, Carmel. If somebody new is serving me, there will be the staff at the back will say, oh, Betty, that's Carmel. She always orders, I don't know, chicken mignon. She prefers on a tray, not in a plastic bag. It's just those extra things to know they go over and beyond to really care about what you're there for. Yeah,
and I think maybe in this COVID time, and we're slowing down a little bit, people are really responding really positively to just a hello. And a bit of eye contact, and you mentioned before how important body language is, and I know we've removed a lot of the face-to-face, retail shopping side of it for now, but that doesn't mean that we can't be still reaching out via social media. We can do Facebook Lives, we can do a lot of things. So for those of you who are watching today and you're really interested perhaps in talking about what are my transferable skills, how do I construct a resume and a cover letter? Carmel, can you give us your details as to how people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, certainly. So our website is www.theprovengroup.com.au, and you can contact me directly. My email address is carmel@theprovengroup.com.au, or via phone 1300 312 And we've
Brilliant.
of course got Facebook pages and things like that. You can always, and LinkedIn if you'd like to connect and have a chat.
Excellent. So everybody who's watching, who, if you personally are looking at going for a job in frontline, moving from, what was it, truck driving to aged care, I love it. I love it. Please give Carmel at the Proven Group a call. So thanks very much, Carmel. We'll speak again soon.
Thanks, Kate. Have a great day.